Tonight, you open your phone and read a message from someone you don't know. You feel curious, more than afraid. You assume it's a joke or a wrong number. But imagine if that message was written in code, sent to a major newspaper, and signed by a killer who was proud of what he'd done. That is exactly what happened in California at the end of the 1960s. And the real answer to who he was is stranger than you think. It started on a quiet night near Lake Herman. A young couple parked in a car listening to the radio. Footsteps, then gunshots. The girl survived, barely. The boy did not. No one knew that this single night would open a door that would stay open for decades. Weeks later, the killer himself mailed letters to 3 different newspapers. These weren't ordinary confessions. They contained complex ciphers, threats of future killings, and a clear demand. Print this code on your front page, or I will kill again. He signed himself with a symbol, a circle crossed by 2 lines, like a crosshair on a target. The press gave him a name that would outlive him: the Zodiac. Here you should pause and ask yourself something. Why would a killer want his words published? Robert Ressler, one of the founders of the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit, studied cases exactly like this one. He described it with a simple phrase: the need for control through public confession. This killer didn't just want to kill. He wanted to be watched doing it, from a safe distance, through paper and ink. The first cipher he sent contained 348 symbols. It wasn't the police who cracked it. It was a high school teacher in California and his wife, working it out at their kitchen table over a matter of days. The decoded message didn't reveal his name. It revealed something worse. He wrote that killing gave him more thrill than anything else in life, and that his victims would become his slaves in the afterlife. But there was another cipher, far harder, made of 340 symbols that stayed unsolved for more than 50 years. Intelligence analysts tried, hobbyists around the world tried, advanced computer programs tried. All of them failed. Then, in 2020, a team finally broke it. An Australian programmer named Sam Blake, an American web designer named David Oranchak, a Belgian code-breaking specialist named Jarl van Eyck. Together, they cracked it. What did they find after 50 years of silence? A message where the killer said he wasn't afraid of the gas chamber, because it would only send him to paradise faster, where more slaves were already waiting for him. No name, no address, just cold bragging. That bragging is exactly what makes this case unlike almost any other in American crime history. This killer wasn't hiding from the spotlight. He was chasing it. He sent dozens of letters over the years, some containing details about the crimes that had never been made public, confirming to investigators that he really was the one responsible. Others were pure theater, threats that never happened, promises of murders that never took place, as if he were playing a game with the police and the press together and enjoying every second of holding the strings. Officially confirmed, victims stop at 5, but in one letter, the killer claimed he had killed 37 people. Police could never confirm that number. Was he lying to inflate his own legend, or were there real victims never connected to the case at all? That single question alone is enough to keep the file open to this day. Over the decades, dozens of names surfaced as possible suspects. The most famous was Arthur Lee Allen, a man from Vallejo, first named publicly by author Robert Graysmith in his best-selling book on the case, later adapted into a major film. But DNA testing, done years later on a postage stamp, from one of the letters didn't match Alan. Another suspect, an artist named Richard Gaikowski, was repeatedly floated because of handwriting similarities, but no conclusive evidence ever tied him to the crimes either. And here is the real center of what makes this case feel less like a puzzle and more like a mirror. Every generation of researchers and amateurs reopens the file. They reread the ciphers, they compare handwriting samples no one thought to compare before. They search for a pattern the last person missed. Why do people keep doing this? For a case more than 50 years old. The answer runs deeper than curiosity. The human brain does not tolerate an unfinished story. When a story ends without resolution, part of you stays stuck inside it, quietly trying to write the ending yourself.